Richard, welcome to Adulting with Autism.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Okay, for all my listeners out there who are new to you, tell them who you are.
Well, my name is Richard Lowe. I worked in the tech industry for 33 years. I was the director of IT at Trader Joe's. I managed
Oh my God.
a good portion of the IT department, the part that was in stores. I was a VP of two companies before that, VP of consulting. And I put in the part of the water system for Las Vegas Valley, New Haven, Connecticut, and Ojai, California. Then one day, 2013, I said, I'm done with corporate. So I packed up my bags, moved to Florida, and started my new career, whatever that was going to be. First, I started looking for a job, but it turns out that there's a lot of ageism out there. Couldn't do it. I mean, I could find jobs, but they would be, not good jobs. So I started doing various gig kind of things. And then I started doing LinkedIn branding. That was for a little while, and then ran into a ghostwriter and did some ghostwriting for him for about a year, and wrote 3 books for $1,000 each, whole books. Now, I realized I was being grossly underpaid. That was like a penny a word or something. So I confronted him, and he said, well, you can leave if you want, but nobody's going to hire you because you're new and all this, and just gaslighted the heck out of me. So I silently in my mind gave him the little finger and walked out. And the next day, literally the next day, I had $25,000 worth of business from 2 clients. And since then, I've managed to, for now the last 13, 14 years, managed to build quite a nice ghostwriting business.
Now, you are late diagnosed autistic in ADHD.
Yes, I am.
So, what did it feel like to receive that diagnosis?
Well, I'm 65 now, and I got the diagnosis at 64, so it's really recent. And I just went, oh yeah, that makes sense. That explains a lot. It was not, the only thing that shocked me was I'd never figured it out before.
Hmm.
It just never occurred to me that that was something that could be me. But I read through all of the materials and looked at it, and same as any ADHD, I'm sure, hyper focused on it for a while, figured it all out, went to AI and asked it all about it, and then said, you know what, I am going to take advantage of being autistic. And that's what I started doing.
So, you described ADHD pattern as nothing, 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 then everything all at once, which that pretty much sums it up.
Well, I call it scattershot, where like right now I have a to-do list that's 113 long. And yeah, I mean, it's huge. Now, I fully don't intend to get to it all today, but it's stuff that I plan to do. And I'll just sit down and I'll just become literally focus. I'll get up at 4 in the morning and I'll just work through the items on the list, and I'll look up and it's midnight. It's like, what the hell? My blood sugar is low and I'm freaking out because I woke up in the dark and I'm going to bed in the dark. And the hyperfocus is something I've really found I can use. I can just turn it on, and the time blindness comes with it. Is a little uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And the worst thing is the face blindness, where I can look at somebody and I'll have no idea who they are for just a few seconds. Maybe I'll give you an example of face blindness. That I used to walk around the block with a young lady, pretty cute. We would talk and talk and talk and talk and talk for years, a couple of years. And then I moved, and then a few years later, I'm in a restaurant, and this lady comes running up to me, gives me a big hug, brunette. She's a little older. She's cute. And she says, Richard. And my mind's going like, who is this person? I'm not used to getting hugs by strangers. She says, this is Lexi. Hello. How you doing? And blah, blah, blah. And she went on and on. Don't you remember me? And like, for the life of me, I have no idea who she was still, but she told me who she was. And I've kind of filled in a picture, which may or may not be right. But the face blindness and the stuff that I don't know what part of it's called, but the stuff where the memory, if it's not important, it's gone forever.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, whoop, I don't remember you, but I'll play along. I mean, getting hugged by a cute girl. I mean, what am I going to, I'm not going to say, go away, go away.
Right. So, were there any stories in your childhood that now scream?
Actually, I wrote a book, and it's called My Life in Crazyland. And it's about me until from when I was born and moved out. And what basically the environment that reinforced me being ADHD and autistic. Somewhat abusive, mostly mental, some physical. And I just wrote about all the things that happened, and they're little things, a lot of. They're things that a normal person would look at and go, ah, that's just stupid. Why did that cause such a problem? But it does, because it sticks, because I'm ADHD. And my parents had me on lithium at the beginning, when I was 8 months old.
My God.
Apparently, I was quite a handful. Back then, I guess it was pretty standard. And I was bouncing off the walls until I learned that Dad had anger issues. So when I made noise or did something that he didn't like anything, because he didn't like a lot, I would get screamed at, I'd get slapped, the abuse would start. So I learned to have, first thing I learned was books. If I was reading a book and I was quiet in my little corner reading this book, he left me alone. And the mom left me alone too, because mom was part of it. And then I got into hobbies, same thing. And I learned that by focusing on these things, my model railroad kit, my model tanks and things, my parents would leave me alone. So I focused like a lot on those hobbies, and that those continued up to this day. The hobbies, they were my safe zone, and it was fascinating to look back on that and seeing how it came together.
Okay, so now that you were in IT, where you were like, I'm really good at this, but this really fucking sucks.
All the time. I mean, I was super good at I'm super good at the tech. I mean, I write, even though I'm a writer, I still write code and then just whiz it out like this. Write my website and books and stuff. To me, books are kind of code. They just come together. I mean, I've written 60 books in the last year, 60, and they're not small books. Some of them are 100,000 words.
Mm.
Yeah, just sit down and start writing and write and write and write and write and write until the body just goes, you're done. And then get up in the morning after 4 hours sleep and do it again until the book's done. So I'll write a book in a week and then have to edit it, of course. And I hate that. And then, but in IT, the thing that drove me crazy was the office politics,
Mm.
the social part of it. You have to get along socially with people. I just wanted to get the job done. And I was a manager. I was a leader in this company. And what went along with it was introversion. I was horribly introverted. I am incredibly introverted. Oh my God, people would not even know I existed because I was introverted. So one day back then, I decided to, after the wife passed away, I decided to handle the grief and handle the introversion in the same thing. So what I decided to do was pick up the camera and start photographing. So first I went to the national parks. I went to all the national parks on the West Coast. Photographing, I'm ADHD. So I mean, I took 100,000 pictures, and went on hikes and went all over the place. I actually hurt myself on some of the hikes, fell down a cliff, that kind of thing. Had to be rescued by the guide. Got all kinds of stories. And then that book I'm still writing. And then I went to Renaissance fairs. And I've been to Renaissance fairs before, but I started going to them and started taking pictures of Renaissance fairs, and those were fun. And I became a Renaissance fair person. And they called me the Ren Fair guy because I was always there. I was taking pictures of everything. I went backstage, and oh my God, the stuff that happens backstage is wow. Yeah. Don't bring your kids.
No, but
And yeah, they won't allow kids. It was amazing. And I became friends with all these people. And then I ran into the belly dancers. And I was watching a belly dance show from the back corner, the back row with my telephoto lens, photographing the dancers. And I put them online, and they would take all the pictures, and they'd wait for them to come on. They were sitting there and waiting. And as soon as all the pictures came on, they would grab them all and put them all over the place. And I let them have them, put my logo on them and said, yeah, all, use them as you wish. And they loved it. So one day I'm sitting there at the Renaissance Fair photographing these women in a group called Ujam, and a lady named Mardavi came up, not Mardavi, sorry, Mirjani came up to me and said, and she's approaching me, and I'm thinking, oh my, and she's short, she's the leader of the troupe, she's got piercings and tattoos that she did herself, gargoyle on one hand, white gargoyle and a dark gargoyle for good and evil, and the bangles and stuff, all the stuff that belly dancers have. And she comes and she sits next to me. She puts her arms around me. Now remember, I'm super shy. And I'm like, oh my God, who is this lady? Oh my God, I'm going to die, because she has studs in her head and stuff, what I mean? And she puts her arms around me and she says, we love your photos. And I said, well, thank you. And she said, and you're a great photographer and we like you. We would like you to always sit in the front row center of every single show, and we're going to reserve a seat for you. But we want you to sit in the front row because we'll tell you that photographers who sit in the back row with their telephoto lens, we think it's a little creepy. And I said, I can see that. And so after that, she introduced me to every single belly dancer she could. And before long, I was the belly dancer guy. And I photographed every single belly dance show that I could find in Southern California. And I took, by the time I was done with photography, I took almost 1 million pictures. And yeah, a lot of them were, half of them were belly dancers. Went to all the shows. Every year I put on a party and I'd have 100 dancers come. I'm not kidding. Some of them big names, like the names you'd see on America Got Talent kind of names. And they'd all dance for me and I'd cater it and I'd rent a hall or a bar or something. And first one was a pirate shop. And then I realized, I think my introversion problem is solved. To the way, just as much as I want it to be, because I'm still introverted, but not so much that it gets in the way. And then my shyness problem. Actually, I'm introverted, but not shy, as you can tell. There's a difference. Shy is having trouble even having this conversation. Introversion to me is like, I can't getting to this conversation at all because I want to be by myself. So then I did that. And then when I moved to Florida, I gave that all up and started writing.
Now, for listeners out there who feel like they're barely holding it together, like what signs might they already have more independence and skills than they realize?
First of all, the thing to realize is ADHD is not a disability. It is a power. It is a superpower. There are, like I was telling you, I mean, I hyperfocus on things. I'll sit down and I'll say, okay, I want to do this and I want to finish it tonight. Boom, I am focused on that. Do use it. Use it. All the other stuff in ADHD, you can in one way or another use to give yourself more power. And the thing to do is to stop treating it as a disability and start treating it as a powerful thing. You got stuff that other people don't. I mean, I could go through, what are there, like 50 bazillion different symptoms of ADHD? I don't know, 50 or 60. Just go through them and one of them will click. Yeah, I focus on things, or yeah, I do that. And then there's workarounds. I have trouble with dates, calendar dates. So I have to keep a calendar. And if it's not on my calendar, I'm like, you're lucky that I put you on the calendar. Because I won't, well, you have a little automatic thing that does it. I won't show up. I have to have a to-do list or it won't get done. So my to-do list tends to expand and contract. I come up with these systems to handle that. I'll talk to somebody and I won't remember a word that they said while they're saying it. So while they're saying it, I'm putting it on a to-do list and calendar and recording it so that I can get it later. So I've come up with these systems to take care of some of the issues with being ADHD. And also I'm taking advantage of the powers that ADHD gives me.
Now, what does your writing process look like with you having ADHD?
Oh, that's fascinating. I will say, okay, I want to write a book on the war between. This is one I just finished. The war between Satan and God. I think that's a fascinating subject. Okay, sounds fascinating to me. So I sat down and started researching it a little bit, and it's very fascinating. And I came up with, well, what if, let's change it a little bit. What if a super powerful, advanced, artificial intelligent being went to hell as a soul in hell, in Dante's Inferno? So how did that work out? So he all kinds of shenanigans happen, and then at the same time I have this war going on and stuff. And it's just flowing from my fingers. I'm just writing. I didn't outline this. I didn't sit down and figure out what it was going to be. I'm just saying, well, what if this? That chapter looks pretty good. It doesn't really fit with the rest of it. I need to go backwards. And that's kind of unique because I just sit down and I just write. Then I have to proofread it, and that's the yucky part. But AI helps with that. AI is really good with that, in that you can take your document and say, hey, AI, help me proofread this, and it'll tell you all the problems. Or AI, help me with, does this chapter make sense? And it'll say, no, this is messed up, this is messed up, this is messed up, fix this and this and this and this. So you don't use AI to write. You use it to help you write.
Now, you say stop forcing the neurotypical method.
But yeah, you drive yourself crazy.
What does finding that click look like in practice for listeners out there that's like, that sounds like my jam?
What do you mean finding that click?
Like, how do they find their systems or build around their world instead of just forcing themselves to do it neurotypically?
Well, I realized, actually, it was probably just a couple years ago, that I don't remember dates. That's why I keep missing things, is because I don't remember. Oh yeah, I have to talk to this person for this interview today. And I thought, well, what if I use technology? What if I use a calendar? Okay, let's do that. The only thing I need to do then is remember to put it on the calendar, which I do right away. So that's the system. Oh, I have trouble with faces. Well, when they're on Zoom, take a picture and take their name and put it in a little folder that says this is this person, and start keeping little facts that you find. So start using in technology to help that memory along. Whatever's missing, you can fill in the blanks. So now when I look up April on the computer, who's this April person? I can look in the folder that says April, and I got a picture of you, and I got, she's at the show, got a little text file with notes. I can go look at it, and voila, problem solved. The thing I do have to do is I have to remember I put it there. But you just start to look at, well, where's the holes? What's the thing that's holding? Like I have had the hole of being shy. So what do you do about shyness? Well, I forced myself out into the world. That may not be right for you. How about going into Toastmasters and start taking speech classes at Toastmasters? That's a group that teaches teaching. It teaches speaking, and get up on stage once in a while. That terrified me when I first got in. Oh my God, getting me to speak. I won a nice big award once, and they couldn't get me on stage to accept it. They couldn't drag me on. They tried. Literally, 3 people were trying to drag me on stage, and they would not do it because I'm, big guy and hard to drag. So find your, just look at yourself and see, well, and you can even look at it and say, well, what do other people say is my weakness? And then fill in that hole, whatever that happens to be.
So, how would you define executive functioning in a way that fits neurodivergent adults?
What do you mean by executive functioning?
Like that part of your brain where it can organize everything and put it in a way that fits neurodivergence, because we don't think in like systems. Like,
You better believe I don't think like systems. I have this to-do list with hundreds of items on it. Do you think I do it in order? No. Do you think I do it in priority order? No. I just pick the one that looks good. And it might be this lowest priority thing on the list, but it got my attention, and I'm going to finish that now. For executive functions, when I was at Trader Joe's, I was a leader, and I was middle management, and it became kind of an issue. I didn't know I was ADHD then, so it was an issue, because it's the not knowing that's the problem. It's the not having the label, and then being able to look it up and say, okay, what does this mean? Find a book on ADHD or something and learn about it. I'd just find a book or something online or even AI and say, so what is ADHD? What does that mean? Yeah, what does that mean to me in my life? That's what I did. I went on AI and said, what does it mean? And it said, well, it means you got this and this and this and this and this and this and this. Yeah, that makes sense. One of the worst things that I had to fight is, I think it's called RSV. It's the one where you little things will set you off. Yeah, you're obviously familiar with it. And I was like, oh, because somebody will say something dumb and they're not my friend anymore. They're gone. I've erased them from my life. They're just gone. I don't even remember them, And now that I know what that is, okay, that's just me being ADHD. You can stop that, Richard. Maybe they didn't really mean that I was a jerk. Maybe they did, but I could at least have a conversation with them.
Okay, so you've written books like The ADHD Marketer and The ADHD Christian, which I find fascinating.
Did you read them?
Not yet, but just the titles, I'm like, who does The ADHD Christian? Because I've never seen it. How should neurodivergent brains approach this? Because That can be so like woo.
I don't know what you mean by woo, but I was in a church. I went to church, Christian, after many years of being away from the church. I went in, and it was fun for a while. And then I started not liking it and started having a lot of trouble getting there. And then I started looking at it from an ADHD viewpoint, and I realized, okay, yeah, it's the ADHD is conflicting with what's going on in the church. The social mechanisms are literally driving me crazy. And that's what the book's about, is how do you deal with that? And it's aimed at people who are ADHD, pastors who are setting up their parishioners, talking to their parishioners. When you've got somebody who's neurodivergent, and I don't know about the other types of neurodivergence, I just know ADHD, autism is me. You have to be aware that these people that people like me are going to, we're just going to leave if it doesn't fit. In my case, it was started to talk. They changed the format so that they started talking a lot more about giving money and tithing and things like that. And it was driving me crazy because I'm there to learn about God. I'm not there to learn about how to give money. And it got really heavy. And then the you're going to hell stuff hard. Really, it's like I don't really think I'm going to hell, and that's something I'll confront when I get there. But yeah, that's something my parents told me a lot, that I was going to hell. So I had to kind of work through that. But the ADHD Christian will its goal was to tell you how to kind of deal with this kind of stuff, so that in my case, I could get myself back into the church. And the ADHD marketer is the same thing. Marketing is something, me as an ADHD, I have a lot of trouble with.
Because I'm like, I'll zone out. I'm like, I'm done.
Because there's no immediate, you can't see the benefit right away. It's long term, and you may not ever see the benefit of marketing and sales, especially marketing. Marketing is putting your brand out there and getting people to recognize it. Well, how do you know? How do you know people know? I mean, how do you know that they like your logo? You don't. I mean, even if they say they do, how do you know they're not lying? Whereas when I write a book, I have a book. I can sell it, Other people can read it.
Now, what would you say to someone who feels like it's too late to change direction because they've already invested in their career or a degree or an identity that just doesn't fit?
I left a $150,000 a year job when I was 54 to become a ghostwriter. And I left, I hadn't been a professional writer before. I'd done writing, but I'd never been a professional writer before. I'd never run a business before. I didn't know how to do any of that. I had a little money, so I was able to float for a little while, not as long as I would have liked, because it sure was nice just sitting there on the couch for a few months, vegging. But you can do it, because I did it. And I changed careers after I left a few times. I started with doing LinkedIn profiles for a company. I started doing ghostwriting for a company. I was an affiliate marketer. I sold on eBay. I made $35,000 on eBay. I made $10,000 in affiliate marketer. I did all these different things, but until I finally ran into ghostwriting, sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and do it. And it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fear, a lot of gaslighting from other people. Oh, you're not going to make it. You're going to die out there. What are you going to do? Well, you don't have to worry about it, because you're not going to be in my life anymore, because I'm going to be living in Florida and you're in California.
So if somebody is stuck in the nothing, 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 then everything pattern, what's one step they can do today?
This is a book I'm probably going to write pretty soon. Everybody's in a box.
Oh, that sounds fabulous title.
And the box is something you create. It's not something people impose on you. I mean, unless you're in jail or something. It's generally not something people impose on you. It's a box that you think you have around you. And all you have to do is first of all, start getting out of the box, and then eliminate the box. It's not something you need. It's just something you've decided you must have. I had this box that I had to be working in this tech company and get a 9 to 5 and make a paycheck and pay the bills, the American dream, blah, blah, blah. And when I realized that was just the box I was in, I changed direction and said, you know what? I don't need this box. I don't even like this box. It's kind of an ugly box. I don't like where I'm working. I don't like the job I'm doing. I love the programming and stuff, and I liked a lot of the people, and it wasn't a horrible place to work, but I didn't like it. So I left the box. Now I've still got a box. We all do, but it's a different kind of box, and I'm going to break that too. But find your box. If it's as simple as sign up for Toastmasters and go to a meeting. There's a Toastmasters in just about every city. It's a speech. It teaches you to speak, and you just go there and you speak. And you don't have to speak. You can watch other people speak. You can grade people speaking. That's fun. You can say, "Oh, this guy's a terrible speaker," if you want. You don't have to. Join a social group. Join an online social group if you have trouble getting outside. Lots of those. Start a gig business. Do something that's different. A gig business being, sell some stuff on eBay. Most of us have too much junk. eBay is a great place to get rid of it, or a Facebook Marketplace. Make some money.
Okay, a final question for you is where can people find you, your books, your ghostwriting work, and your appearances?
You can go to masterofworlds.com. So that's Master of Worlds. That's plural. Masterofworlds.com, and that has all my books and articles and all kinds of cool stuff. If you go to thewritingking.com, that's more of my business site, and it's all about about ghostwriting and how to buy my services. So if you're a writer, you can go there. richardlowe.com, I just built that site, and it's going to have articles that are personal, that are not so much my brand. So the three sites go together. So one of those three sites, probably for most of your audience, Master of Worlds is the right one. Go there. You'll find books. You'll find short stories, all kinds of stuff. Do leave comments, please. Love comments on there. Even if whatever kind of comments you want, short ones, long ones, not bad ones though. I do moderate them because some people are weird. It's the internet, right?
The internet.
Yeah, and you'll find all the podcasts I've been in on there. I think I've been in almost 200 now.
Good Lord, I
As
can't.
guests. And then I've run 3, probably about to start up another one. I know, I'm crazy. So you can go to those 3 places. And I'm thinking of putting myself out on TikTok because that is definitely out of my box.
It's out. If you are Gen Z and older, it's out of everybody's box because it's like this whole new world.
Yeah, well, what I've been told and what I've seen is a lot of the it's called Book Talk. It's a subset of TikTok. A lot of them are romance writers and romance books, and I've actually written 3 romance books. So I thought I'd try it out. It's interesting writing a book that's from the point of view of a woman. So pretending that I'm a woman writer writing about a woman from a woman's viewpoint was not easy. And I've done 3 of them now. So they're all on my website. You can find them all. Masterofworlds.com.
Richard, thank you so much for coming on to my podcast.
It's my pleasure. I know it was kicking and screaming and you had to grab me and say, "Do it," but I did it. I'm kidding, of course, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Feel free to ask if you need another one, if you need anything. In fact, if anybody here needs anything, get on my website, leave a comment, send me a message, whatever.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.